Okay, I think now it's time to kick off this session. Ozan, the floor is yours.
Fantastic. Good to see you. Good. You guys are in for a treat. We'll see you, inshallah, in 3, 4 weeks. But before that, I just want to kind of give a short introduction, a lot of AI stuff. So my name is Ozan. You can call me the brutally honest mentor because when I enter a room, I usually get in with a bang like this. If I can't, I do it again, but that works out. But most importantly, I'm happy to welcome you in a place that I called home for 3 years. It doesn't look like this for those who are going to come and say, oh, where's the pool? House has 3 different pools and the sea is there. It's beautiful. Campuses look like this. There's only one tall building, but they're not hotels like this. So this is just, of course, an AI creation of what Kaust looks like to, I think, Nana Banana. But it is, regardless, one of the most beautiful places you'll be in terms of access to talent, access to resources, access to smart people, and access to nature. So one recommendation I have for those who haven't been to Kaust before, um, or haven't been to Jeddah before, try to stay long. I don't know if Vajdan, you guys are going to do an Umrah, but if there's an Umrah organization, you guys have to do it. I really hope I'll do it again this year. And if not, and if you do Umrah, or if not, then at least try to do diving experience as well. So inside Kaust or in Jeddah, like bond together, organize things together. That'll be really nice. Um, I I I am proud to say I have the impact in the Saudi ecosystem 10 years ago when we started. Amal Abdurrahman, myself, we were going crazy with stuff. We built the first programs. We had fun. I had good friends. I still have good friends, and I'm missing the environment. So if I lived in San Francisco after that, this slide is just to tell you to listen because I have done a lot of things, and I worked with MIT Enterprise Forum for 10 years. I trained more Arabic speaking founders than anybody that I know. I mean, we trained, Amal Abdurrahman and myself, we trained more Arabic speaker founders in 10 years, some of which got good investments, some of which got acquired, some of which created impact, some of died. But we probably trained more than 1,000. And then I moved to San Francisco. I invested on behalf of an investment company called Growth Circuit out of a Turkish university fund. Uh, we had success stories. We had people who got into Berkeley Skydeck, who got into 500 Global, who got into Draper University programs. I started investing myself at that time. And then during the pandemic, before the pandemic, I got back to Turkey. I worked with United Nations, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and World Food Program, helping water, food, hygiene startups as well as inclusivity startups. And then what I was able to do is during the pandemic, because nobody was able to travel, I managed and trained and mentored as part of UC Berkeley Startup Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology, as well as Stanford-backed Global Innovation Catalyst. I'm still a co-director in the Founder Institute regional program, and I have 3 companies profitable and operating. And I had a startup that I decided not to fundraise when I was in San Francisco. And because of that, it died. But before anybody had anything to do with AI, I had a product, I had revenue, I had growth, and I had everything I needed to fundraise, but I decided not to. So we'll talk a little bit about fundraising today at the end. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to help. I'm a CPA at the same time. So I worked in Deloitte as a certified public accountant and an auditor. So if you're bullshitting about your financial models, I can sniff that out very quickly. So Part of what you will be needing to submit is solid financial models, but we'll get to that as well. Again, it's another version. I did that all of things. And today we're doing this, the Brutally Honest group. We teach people how to be mentor, how to angel invest, how to become corporate innovators. And we also help startups in French, sorry for that, we help startups get their shit together in due diligence. So we have a tool that helps you to understand what you are not good at so that you can actually fix that and you become better. And maybe I'll introduce you to the tool at one point. I think I see that some of you have finished the form, but out of 20 teams, we have 14. So if you have not finished the form or have missed an email, as I think it's becoming a habit for some, don't do that. Don't miss emails. Just 1 second. All right. Scan this, but don't fill it yet because we have a lot to do, but fill this up until the time we meet. This is going to help us understand you a little bit more. And after that, I need to introduce you to a few things.
Let's listen to my conversation with a friend talking about key questions on pricing.
All right. So can you help me understand why pricing is important in my startup? You guys can hear it well,
Absolutely.
Right?
Pricing isn't just about covering costs. It's a statement about what your product or service is worth. It communicates value to your customers and sets expectations for your brand. How are you currently thinking about pricing for your startup?
So I was given 3 different advice. One is to focus on competitive pricing. One is to focus on low cost, low pricing, and the other one is high cost, high pricing. Any pros and cons you would like to share?
Let's break them down. Competitive pricing means matching what others charge, which keeps you in the game, but doesn't necessarily differentiate you. Low cost, low pricing strategies rely on volume. You need to sell a hell of a lot to make decent margins. High cost, high pricing positions, your product is premium, but you better deliver something exceptional to justify it. Which direction feels most aligned with your vision?
So in terms of positioning, high price also gives a different signal to the market and might make it easier for customers to buy instead of low cost, low price. Do you agree?
Exactly. A higher price can signal quality, exclusivity, or even scarcity, which can actually make some customers more likely to buy because they perceive greater value. But here's the kicker. You've got to back that price up with a product or experience that truly delivers. Are you confident your offering can meet those heightened expectations?
Yeah, we're pretty good at that price point. And instead of saying, I have built a better product, it works better, I think pricing gives that signal much clearly.
Bingo! Pricing becomes part of your branding and marketing strategy. Instead of shouting, we're better, the price itself says, we're worth it. But let me ask you this. How do you plan to educate your target audience about why your product deserves that premium price tag?
All right, that's a good question. But I'll switch to something else. A lot of the customers we talked wanted cheaper prices than what they actually pay, but our product is much better, much superior. How can I navigate that perspective change?
That's where storytelling comes into play. You've got to show them why paying more now saves them money or hassle later. Maybe highlight how your product lasts longer, performs better, or solves problems their current solutions can't touch. Have you considered using case studies or testimonials to drive home that message?
Yeah, we've done that and it worked. In terms of B2C ideas that we have, how do you think we should start thinking about pricing to begin with?
For B2C, start by understanding your customer's perceived value. Ask yourself, how much would they pay if they knew exactly what they were getting? Then test different price points to see what sticks. Remember, pricing is iterative. It's okay to adjust as you learn more about your market. What's your gut telling you right now?
I want to start with pricing that gives early customers an advantage, but I don't want to do the traditional SaaS pricing with monthly and yearly. Do you think there's other ways that I can price my B2C product?
Hell yeah. There are plenty of options beyond the usual subscription model. You could try a lifetime license, a pay-per-use system, or even bundle services for a flat fee. The key is finding a structure that aligns with how your customers naturally use your product. What's stopping you from experimenting with these alternatives?
Not much, really. That's a good idea to start with. How about different pricing models for deep tech startups that we're building at the same time? What should I start from?
Deep tech often thrives on value-based pricing since the products tend to be highly specialized. Start by calculating the total cost savings or efficiency gains your solution provides to clients. Then position your pricing as a fraction of that value, not just a cost, but an investment in their success. Does that resonate with your current projects?
100%. I think we've covered most of what I had in mind. Do you have any kind of tips to close with?
Here's the deal. Pricing is a tool, not a rule book. Be flexible. Keep learning from your customers and always tie your pricing back to the unique value you bring. Oh, and don't overcomplicate it. Simplicity wins every time. Keep pushing forward. And let's talk again once you've tested some of these ideas out.
Got it. Thanks, man. Much appreciated.
Anytime. Go crush it and let's chat soon.
Okay, so anybody has any guess who that person was? Don't, if you were here yesterday, don't spoil. Does this person sound familiar?
Mark Cuban.
Ta-da! It works. Let me go. Actually, sorry, I lost you. Where's my screen? Yep. So that's Mark Cuban. I have a tool that I keep talking to Mark Cuban with, and it kind of works really well. I'm surprised that it works this well, but it does work well. Yesterday we had a conversation with cash flow. Today we had a pricing conversation. And I tried to ask as many questions as possible within the time limit that I have to highlight some of your challenges. And deep tech, B2C, we talked a lot of things. Has any of the things he mentioned that I asked made any sense to any one of you? For deep tech, B2C, B2B, we talked a lot. So you guys all know your pricing. Good job. Well done. So why the hell are you joining a program if everything's working so well?
If I may,
yes, go.
This is Rafik from Contract Set team. Actually, we have done this exercise of the pricing, and what we have done is that we have compared to, we have taken into account some research from Gartner for the contract lifecycle management tools, and we based our prices on the low basis of these prices, on the low prices for the market on the CLM tool. But even with doing this, for some markets in Africa, because we are operating in Europe and in Africa, we felt that the prices that we have defined for Europe was quite high for an African market, because it is about manpower. What we are offering is that we are offering an AI solution for legal and for compliance. And what we have remarked is that the manpower does not cost the same in Africa and in Europe. And
Of
we
course.
had to review our prices for the African market in order to be fit to the manpower price in Africa.
Okay, so you did one thing right and one thing wrong, and I'll come to that. But thanks for sharing.
Welcome.
Anybody who would like to have a shot at what Rafiq did wrong? Jawad is smiling because this was the first session that I went through them. Rafiq, what is your value proposition?
My value proposition is to help big corporation save time and add compliance in the processes that they handle for each operation regarding contract management and compliance management.
Okay. What does your customers buy from you?
SaaS tool with agentic
No.
AI.
No. I'll go again. What does your customers buy from you?
He does buy a tool that
No.
help him save money.
No. What does your customers buy from you? Anybody would like to help Rafiq? Much simpler than that, Kanan. That's a good approach. Jobs to be done style could have worked. We'll come to that. That's the second piece. But the first part, I really need to hone this message to all of you. Who is in the B2B market? Most of you are in B2B markets. Right. Good. What does your customers buy from you?
Service?
No.
Cost
No.
reduction, increasing revenue.
Additional
That's
revenue.
it.
Additional
See?
revenue.
Yeah.
Those are two of my teams that I mentored, and they know the answer. Nobody else does. Because if you are in B2B, you're selling two things. You're selling money in the form of more revenues or in the form of less costs. Everybody's clear with that? So you are telling me, use me, you'll make more money. Use me, you will have less cost. That's it. That's the only thing you sell. Primarily. Good. So it works. But I have a problem with that. If you are saving costs, what is the maximum I can pay you? The maximum I can pay you is less than half the cost you're saving me. Does that make sense? Because if you're saving me 100, you want some money to save me 100. The maximum I'm willing to share as a corporate responsible from a budget, if I'm saving 100, I'm not going to give you a 50. That's not a deal I'm going to make. Life is not fair. I have the money, you don't. You want something from me. I'm not going to, even if you prove to me you're saving 100, I will not give you anything more than 30. And you'll be lucky if I give you 30. Like, you get 1/3, I got 2/3. That sounds a little bit fair. Does that make sense? Like the logic. All right, good. So in that case, if your value proposition is saving money, you are shooting yourself in the foot because you really are going to limit yourself with the revenue that you can have. Whereas on the other side, if you're pitching me an opportunity that I will have more revenue, what is the limit to more revenue if I use your tools? There is no limit.
Yes.
I can use you more. I can embed it more. I can sell more. What is the limit to sell more? It's a lot more. Then what am I going to pay you? What am I going to pay you if you're making me make more money is much more than what am I going to pay you if you're just making me save costs. So if you're going with efficiency metrics, you are doing it, the story you're telling is not the right story in terms of positioning and everything else. There are, of course, exceptions, but we can talk about that. MedTech is an exception. And there's another exception in regulation part of view. If you're not selling me revenue, or if you're not selling me cost, there's a third thing you could be selling me, which is insurance.
Yes.
I am afraid some shit will happen, so I need an insurance. What does insurance give people, companies? Nothing. It's actually a waste of time. Insurance is a Ponzi scheme, if you look at it that way. It's just a cost item, but it covers you from bigger cost items, like fines, penalties, cancellations of operation cycles. Insurance sales is fear selling. So if you're not selling revenue, if you're not selling cost, you could be selling insurance type of things. Use me and you'll be better. Use me, you're not going to have a fine. And then fines are not something that is tangible. Like, oh, there's a fine for this, there's a fine for that, but you never know, like, how does it operate? How do you get fined? Unless you're in a very regulated industry, even in those industries, every fine is different, prices are, but we all know everyone's freak out of, oh, you get a fine. Oh, it's very dangerous. So you can sell fear. So because, why am I doing this? Why am I talking about this? Because in pricing, sometimes it's a counterintuitive action, but you really like to get the most expensive one rather than the cheap one, even though it works the same way. Why? Because humans are irrational. People are stupid. We are all stupid. We have been fooled for many things that we bought. We don't like to admit. We kind of rationalize it after the fact. So I'll get back to you, but there were two more hands that were raised that I talked too much to cut them off. So anybody who has anything with the pricing, you're welcome, my friend. We'll see more. Anyone has any comments on what Mark said? Did it reflect? Do you guys think you need help with pricing? Do you understand that this basic concept of what you're selling? Any questions?
If
Any
I may add,
comments?
Ozan, I
Yes,
have
yalla.
a weird experience. So our client was the government, the
Yes.
Environment Authority. And when it comes to environment, we realized that low cost is a red flag. So our competitor was from South Korea, and they had this super expensive product. We thought we can do something much more cheaper.
Yeah.
We were not shortlisted for that tender. And
Of
when we
course not.
complained, they said your product is very cheap, and we have
Of course
concerns
not.
that it may
It doesn't
harm the
work.
environment.
No, cheap is what? It's
Cheap is
perception.
cheap.
Cheap is cheap. Cheap is less efficient, less reliable, less technology. Cheap is cheap. And I'm going to give you the example. Let's do this. I love it. So, two jeans you see on the screen. Which one is more expensive?
The one on the right?
Probably the
The
left
one
one.
with the guys. So if you
Yes.
think the one on the right is more expensive, give a thumbs up. If you think the one on the left is more expensive, give a heart sign or whatever. Like,
Second.
all right, second one. All right, we got hearts, we got thumbs ups. All right, Yasmin, Cygenic, save the team again. Save the team as always. Good job, well done. So I am going to allow you. I didn't say you're allowed to ask questions. That's why you didn't ask questions. So you're allowed to ask one question. What are you going to ask me to determine which one is more expensive? Jawad, tell me. Mohib, save Rafiq, tell me. Ask me a question that will help me give you the right answer. But you are muted. Okay, nice.
Which brand is it?
Ah, nice. Good job. Fantastic. So literally, it's that 6 centimeters square that determines the price of what you're going to be paying. Those of you who are engineers, Moheb saved you because he's a salesman. He's not an engineer. When you are an engineer, ask me an engineering question on this. Adnan, maybe you're an engineer, but
I'm an engineer. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're a smart engineer. Adnan, ask me a question which would be the most suitable question for an engineer to ask me in determining the price of the product.
Again, please.
So ask me a question like an engineer would to determine the price of a product.
What?
You started right. Peter, save Adnan. Ask me a question like an engineer.
What is the quality of the materials being used? Yeah.
You started right. Almost. Somebody save him. Shuvo, save him.
Is it made of?
Okay, you're coming close. Get more direct.
I can be a little more technical, but like, what is the GSM of the material which is being used?
See, that's a proper engineering question. So this time I'm going to Huzaifa, ask me a question like an engineer. Very simple question. These guys are too engineered. Like, ask me a easy engineering question. But you're muted.
Where was it manufactured?
No.
Exactly. In which country it's made?
Coming close. Guys, be more direct.
The machine I need to produce this thing.
Coming closer, but you would ask, what's the cost of the production? That's what you'll get with quality, with materials, etc. So do you think the cost of the product makes any sense in pricing?
No.
No.
Okay. Those who say no, I'm going to drill you in understanding what you use to price your products. Because usually there are two things to start. Most engineers do that. Those in hardware do it more. What is the cost of production? And what is the cost or what is the price points with competitors? Like, those are the two places we usually start as startups when we try to price our product. We completely miss out on value discussions. And what is jobs to be done, to Kanan's point? What is the value you're getting when you buy a pair of jeans? Of course, you can go on public. It's not an ideal case when you go naked. So you save going to jail. So you have to wear something. That's one. Apart from that, why do you buy a jeans? Yusuf,
because it goes with everything.
The look?
The look, yes. Nice. You're coming close. Why do you want to look better?
Perception.
Perception to do what?
You want to be perceived as someone neat.
Nice. Why do you want to be received as someone neat?
To be different,
to feel better,
to be
honestly.
unique,
Different,
to be
unique.
marketable, to be noticed.
Good. You guys are very gentle. You're not coming. It's maybe because it's inappropriate, but we all decide to wear good stuff because we want to populate.
Yeah, to feel better.
We want to have children. That's the only reason why the brands exist. We want to look good so other people like us more.
Okay.
And the point is, they like us more, we like them more, and we have more children. So you see that very clearly, especially in US. Men over 55 don't pay too much for jeans, usually. Because time's gone, time's up. So they're always in their same sneaker, tennis shoes, and old school jeans. They don't care too much. And that's a proper thing. I can't say anything about female side. I can only talk about the male side. But that's one thing. We never sit and talk. And I might be 55. Well, so I have been No, you're recently married. You're not 55. You're out of the market. That's why. So I have been 38 for the past 8 years, and I have only 2 pairs of jeans, and I'm married. So I'm fine. And I have a 16-year-old daughter. So I'm wearing things not to go to jail. That's the primary reason. And you have to also understand, nobody asks any salesperson, how much did it cost to produce this? What is the linen fabric quality? Like, we don't do that when we are younger, when we're buying things. And again, one of them is 390 euros, the other is 15 euros. It's crazy because they are produced in the same place, using the same cotton, same factory, same land, same water source, same machinery, same individuals working on it. The only thing that's different is the 6 centimeter square branding that's stuck on the back of the jeans. Nothing else is different. Abdullah, tell me, my friend.
Yeah, so I 100% agree with everything you said, but like based on my experience, like what we found, like it's a cultural thing. Like when we like began our solution, like we tested it out like with the US market, and like the US market was totally different to like the Saudi market, and this is coming
Of
from
course.
Saudi. And like
Of
we know
course.
that here people are much more price sensitive, and it makes sense because we're a new company, but also like in order for them to just kind of subscribe, we needed to explain to them like how much it really costs us to like kind of like we deal a lot with data, and like how much like we process data and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we figured out that people just kind of get convinced like once you explain to them the cost, that and that's totally different from the American market. They're just like they don't really care. They just focus on the value. And
I will break your heart, my friend. The only reason you needed to do that is because your name is Abdullah.
exactly. Yeah, we figured that out. Like to be honest, like even one of like the customers that we talked to, well, like one of the biggest firms, they're like, look, if you guys can just like maybe bring somebody who's just not like Saudi and just kind of do this, like you would have way more success. And we noticed that like even with different like brands that we sat down with, like they look at other competitors, and I'm not gonna say like we're better than everything, of course not, but like they just assume that they're better because they're not like a yeah.
And that's a culture thing, but that culture is different than the cost validation culture. So if you were a John, they wouldn't ask him to justify the cost.
You're pretty much, yeah.
I agree. That's a cultural thing, but it's not because of the culture they ask you to justify the cost. It's because of the culture they would trust other people more. SubhanAllah, that's crazy. I know.
Yeah,
we have done so many tests. That's absolutely crazy. And I have the same problem. So I'll give you a very funny example. We invested in 21 startups. Our job was to bring them to the US market. And after 6 months of struggling, especially with B2C, into enterprise startups that we had, I hacked the system. How did I hack the system? This is pre-AI, by the way. So I said, okay, it's a cultural thing. Johns don't want to buy from Ozans or Abdurrahmans or Abdullahs. So we literally did something that's, by the way, Americans do that a lot, by the way. They lie, they cheat. Like, it's not Americans only. Like, founders everywhere lie, cheat, and steal and get everything done. So that's how it works. And I can tell you a few stories how billion-dollar companies became billion-dollar companies with not so ethically acceptable standards of being. Nothing outrageous, but I have so many stories. So what we did, every startup that I invested in had to hire an international person. We used a part-time placement agency, a virtual assistance agency. We hired one person that will take care of all the others. So she had 20 other emails. That was the person who was emailing. But it didn't work that much because we can't, when people search who they received the email from, they figured out it's a personal assistant. It didn't work out that well. It worked a little. It worked to get us appointments. I mean the teams. Then we did something even more. Everyone created an individual, found a nice picture, this is pre-AI, by the way. Found a nice picture, picked up the school that person might have gone to, picked up some of the competitors that person could have worked in her junior years. Her, by the way, not him. It worked all the time. And that person became the sales manager for that company. That person, so our Sandra was emailing to get appointments. Our Christiana, we changed the names, was getting the sales appointments. And for some reason, she was always missing out those meetings, and we had the co-founders join. So Sandra was the sales executive that never joined any meetings. Now with AI, you can have a Sandra that will join sales meetings as well. And then once we saw that at least the sales conversations were starting to happen, because Sandra was following up, the person who was working for Sandra was going into those meetings, but Sandra was following up with offers and everything else. So that kind of worked. Unfortunately, that worked. So again, it's a cultural thing, but setting aside all that, sometimes you just have to do things differently the way it's perceived. And perception, I think, is the only thing that works in sales. So in building pricing, the smart way, which is not always easy, is not to go direct cost, ongoing cost, sales, competitors' prices. You have to do it. Yes, of course, fine. But you really need to understand the value you're providing as a solution to the customers you're using. So I'll give you the latest, craziest example I've seen. One of them, I think, is Firefly. I don't remember the name of the company. I'll find it out. They were trying to build an AI meeting note taker. And they were trying to find out how much people would pay, because there are so many of them now, in order to turn that into a B2B market. So there are lots that are used, but corporates did not allow. Most of them, so they specifically targeted people who are using the Microsoft suite, who could not use an AI note taker because of the Microsoft Teams limitations. I said, okay, we build an enterprise-grade software that manages to go through the Microsoft Teams hurdles. But it's enterprise. It's not consumer that you pay $6, $9, whatever. So what they did before they built a single line of code, they told the people working in the corporates to use the AI note taker by sending an email inviting somebody else outside the organization as their AI agent, and they will take notes, and everything will be on Teams network, Teams structures. What they did is they actually went into those meetings as individuals. There was no AI, no software, nothing. They got into those meetings, they took notes, and they used all the Microsoft tools to record things, to sell things, to send things, and it worked out. And they realized there's a big market for enterprise note takers rather than just B2C note takers, and then they built the product. So this is why, and they use this enterprise model because they wanted to test if it will be worth competing with existing products, sales price of existing products, cost of existing products. So they kind of bypassed that whole conversation, and they went through big customers quickly, and they kind of won their way through. I think they're either acquired or they fundraised recently. Anyways, so the point is, you really need to go through value-based pricing as a startup. And if you have customers that are telling you, well, we would use you, but you need to be cheaper, you skip them. You leave them to your later conversations, because they're not willing to pay the premium price. If they don't pay premium price, you're not going to be able to increase your pricing after they start using. So there are a couple of ways you can do that. One is always set a high price, but give early adopter discounts. Don't call them discounts if possible. Call them program, call them fellowship, call them partnership price adjustments, call them whatever you can, but not discounts, because discounts make you feel cheap. And tell them what's the real value they're going to get. Anchor them to the value. And then go back down to where the customers are used to pay, to competitors probably. But when you put your pricing as the most expensive, if you have the right product, of course, if you trust in your product, which all of you should do, then you can anchor it to a point where it's perceived high value. But in order to win deals, you're lowering it down. But eventually, you're going to reduce the amount of discounts you're giving, program fee calculations you're giving, up to a point where you're going to be more expensive than everybody else. But if you start low, even lower with the expectation that you're going to increase your prices, it just doesn't work. Yes, Abdullah, tell me, my friend.
Yeah, so just have a question regarding the discount point. So you said that it's better not to give discounts, but like more of a
don't call them discounts.
Right. So like how do you what do you recommend like we phrase it? Because like you're always
program participation contribution. Doesn't really matter. You can call it whatever the heck you want. Just don't call it discounts.
Like, what do you think about just kind of the strategy of just kind of giving the user initially like the products so they get hooked on? Like, because sometimes like I can only speak on our experience. Like we notice that because the market is still like we're currently the only solution, so people don't even know like what we're doing. So like the strategy that we went after, just try the product, okay, and for 30 days, and just let's see what happens. Like you in a minimum price. And like once they get hooked on it, like now we can like really negotiate. Like what do you think? Like
it hurts.
yeah.
I think Abdullah will soon join us as an angel investor.
Hopefully.
Because he either has too much money to spend or too much time at his hands to turn this into a business. Like the reason I'm saying that, of course I'm exaggerating. 30 days is a terrible idea. You're not creating any FOMO. You're not creating any stress. You're not creating any push for sales. So it's either 7 days or go to hell. Hell, by the way, is Helsinki. I'm in Helsinki, by the way. So come to Helsinki. So you can say 7 days, you either use it or you lose it. So you have to create attention. The other part with 30 days is it's very expensive. It's just not worth the price of giving 30 days. Maybe 10 days, but not 30 days. And the other part is like so that model is the drug sales model. You get them hooked. Like they get addicted to drugs. If you have that strong of a moat, you shouldn't be reducing the value that you're giving them. And if you don't have a moat, if you don't have a defensibility, you should definitely not be giving them 30 days. Like either case, it's not worth it.
Well, the idea is
what
like
I've seen.
Okay, so like the idea that we thought about this is that again, like the market still don't really understand the solution on a really deep level.
It's perfect.
Yeah, so sometimes it's like even like if you like kind of like download our solution and just just plug it into your store, like it takes a while until you see the effect. Like we're ad tech, so like we basically make it cheaper and you can make more money from ads through us, and like that's the idea. So the idea is that sometimes like you can't see that like the effect like within 24 like hours, and also that's that's kind of like the strategy that we went over, and we're seeing like decent success. Like some people are just not really, like you said, like we cut them off after 30 days. But like we noticed that we tried to make the time, I guess, like shorter, but like it's just not been effective. Like if we
you get too stuck on initial result presentation, but not so much on storytelling. So they may not get this whole thing in 7 days, but if you give them a price point where the minute they sign, they give you the credit card, they give you the corporate account. If that's again, depending on the culture, depending on where it's credit cards and everything else. When you hook them up, you hook them up immediately. So they know they're going to get a 1 month free when they sign up. if after 10 days. So instead of giving them the full product, give them a better story. Oh, you love us so much. We are sure that you're going to love us so much. So you have a 7-day trial period. Then you have 1 month free to cancel. But they agree to buy a full year product when they first sign up with the 10-day product, 10-day free version. Again, it's really more art than science, especially on B2B, and especially on early stage, early adopter seeking values, early customer seeking steps. It's very difficult. So you have to understand who canceled, why they canceled, and then maybe don't go to that archetype ever, knowing that they're going to cancel, but use different strategies, because your job is to maximize the price point and the free cash flow coming from customers as quickly as possible to become a viable startup. That's the difficulty. But again, the reason I joke that you'll be an angel investor is like you feel like you're investing a lot in their businesses rather than in yours when you're giving them for 30 days. You're working for them for free. That's almost like what an angel does. Like you work for them for free, you give them everything for 30 days. You better use that time in investing other people. And that was the reason I had the joke. But again, or you have raised, sorry for the French, shit tons of money, and you're just trying to figure it out. You want to dominate the market, but if not,
to be honest, look, we're bootstrapped and we never like raised any like funds before. But the idea is that like really try to like get really like deep with our customers just to kind of figure out, because to be honest, like it's really it's in like the Saudi market is like a new for us, and then we're trying like, and I'm just trying to understand like how people just kind of like think and do business here, and like this is coming from
it's difficult.
Saudi. Yeah, it's
it's
fairly
very difficult.
It's totally different. So that's why I'm like we're investing too much time like currently, because it like we have a learning curve. Like obviously
100%. Yeah.
But yeah, like in we're launching in the US soon. We're like, yeah, I can invest the same amount, obviously, but like I said, I really want to understand the market on a really deep level.
Yeah. So. Got it. Yes, Iftikhar. Tell me, my friend.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, it's interesting conversation, but I mean, like from our perspective, giving like having, I mean, obviously with the medtech space, things are a little bit different.
Yes.
But we have to give people some amount to try, because it gives them this or adds fidelity, I'd say, to the product, that it does what it says it does. But I mean, to the point, I mean, we restricted greatly, right? So I mean, when we sign up for clients, even with the pilots now that we have in Saudi that are signing up, I mean, we say to them, listen, it's 20 credits free that you can use on those, on those things. But we start off with a price, and we said, this is the pricing. So we have tiered pricing depending on like the volumes that they'll end up using. To be very honest, I mean, one of them have got to the point where they said, listen, they want to commercialize, they want to actually buy the product and take an unlimited thing for a year. But they want to drop pricing. So what we said to them is, look, we can't cut the pricing. But what we can do is give you for this, because you'll be our first partner. You sign up for this thing unlimited for 1 year, you'll get 6 months extra for free. Like, that's included. So I think, there's a lot to what you're saying over there. But I mean, from our side, we have to give something up front.
So the strategy that I've seen work the most is give additional months. So instead of giving them 3 months, give them 12 months for this. And it's a human perception. It should work the same way, but it doesn't. So giving them 2 months free is different than giving them 12 months. You're actually doing basically the same thing, but you're anchoring your price to a point where they agree that you have a position. And then it might work a little bit different, but medtech is different. But that's why the value creation piece is absolutely critical. Like understanding the value creation piece is absolutely critical. Bolan, tell me, my friend.
So I don't know if anyone else faces this challenge, but our situation initially is with these enterprise clients, there's a onboarding cost associated, and obviously with that, the effort and time.
Oh yes.
And all these enterprise clients typically before they fully commit, they want to do a pilot, which is obviously either
Yes.
lower price or a lower commitment. A typical onboarding fee ranges anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. It's a one-time fee,
Yep.
and more than to pay when they come fully on board. The problem is initially for the pilot, they want to get a full sort of a flavor of the product, but at the same time, they're happy to pay the pilot fees. But onboarding fees is a big no-no, which I also understand
Yes.
being on the other side of the table. So
Yeah.
I don't know, how do you like solve it for the pricing? Do we charge a little higher?
Yes.
We haven't been able to figure it out yet, to be very honest.
So there are a couple of strategies there as well. One is give them three options. One is don't call it onboarding if they're kind of allergic to the onboarding fee. Call it handholding, call it customer service fee, personalized customer service fee, 7/24 customer service whenever they want, whatever they need. Again, shortening timeframes work. Like you will get this for free for 7 days. And after that, once you sign up, there's going to be an additional cost of this handholding. And the other piece that might work is when you tell them, again, shortening timeframes is always the first thing that comes to mind. Paid pilots, you can even, if you are well-funded, again, that comes to the funding discussion we'll have in a second. If you are well-funded, you can just get away from any onboarding fee, any setup fee, but you have to put that back into the pricing. You can say, we're not going to do any onboarding fee, we're not going to do any setup fee, but because of that, the pricing will be this much. You don't even need to justify why you're increasing prices. But that's only happens when you have enough money to delay that payment cycle, push for profitability rather than cash flow break even. So it all depends on how much free cash you have. If you have free cash, in order to get a big client, you can just waive the whole setup and onboarding fee to make it work. But you can't do that when you don't have enough money. So that's the problem. If you're well-funded, you can get away with that. It's easier onboarding. Free account, you convert, you work, it goes through. But that's a matter of resources, and that's why it's very tricky to figure this out. So things you can do when you have good money, things you can't do when you don't have that much money. Reda, tell me, my friend.
Thank you.
Yes, my friend Ozan. I think we have one of the challenges that we have. We have two customers, customer A and B.
Okay.
One, I know that customer A is getting a value creation more than B.
Okay.
So even though that I'm providing the same services, which cost me the same.
Okay, good.
Okay, so
perfect.
I'm selling to A like 50,000 because he's getting value. I know that his value creation for him is important, and the customer B maybe 20,000.
Okay,
Okay,
so
this is
can I
one of
have
the
a guess?
strategy. But the problem is, if I know that these customer they have a relation, they can expose the prices.
I will solve it for you.
Yes.
But I have one question to ask. I'm assuming they're from different sectors.
Okay.
Correct? Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So here's my $50,000 consultancy fee coming to you for free. Your branding team may not like me, but what is the name of the product?
Yes, it's a saving program, loyalty for the companies, for the employees.
Tell me the sectors. Is one of the sectors banks and others insurance?
Yes, let me say some of the services, the telecom, the other one is semi-government.
Perfect. So you're going to have a name for your product. Let's say Ozan, but don't put it Ozan. Ozan, powered by Taqadam, will be the product that you sell with a different color of a brand to the banks, and Javad will be the name of the other product that you're going to use a different color that you're going to sell to the other customer. They are going to be exactly the same technology products underneath, but they're going to be branded differently. and this is my $50,000 gift to you. You're probably going to make a lot more money with this. Because nobody is going to understand what type of technology goes into both of those products, because guess what? They are different products now. Why are they different products? Because one of them is called Ozan, the other is Jawad. Of course, they're different products. That's why they cost different. One of them has a red branding, that's expensive. The other has a blue branding, that's a little bit more affordable. Sorry, Jawad, I made you more affordable product, but I have seen this work, and again, it's a perception problem. You have to have a different brand for the sectors. If they are so different in perception of value, in results of value, they need to have different brands. Same technology. By the way, your technology team will not like me as well, because eventually your technology will need to diverge. The features you're going to add to one product will be different than the features you're going to add to the other product. So you need to have a separate product management cycle, different product managers, different account executives, even partially different tech team, working mostly on the front end. Usually the back end stays, but you're going to be a platform that serves two different customer segments, because eventually if you don't, they will figure out how much they're paying each other and they're going to shut you down.
Thank you for the hint. Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend. Peter, tell me, my friend.
Yeah, I think my struggle is more of when we get paid. So context of
nice.
Is basically recruit and relocate healthcare workers from Asia to Saudi Arabia. And one of the issues that they pay on outcome basis, and that's what the market has been set at a percentage or a fixed price of it. Now we're trying to convince them to pay upfront, with a guarantee of refund or cheaper. But I think I struggle to basically convince them, like what's like. I don't know. Is it the value perception? Is it? I'm trying to figure out what.
Everything's value perception. Like, to start with, everything is always, and 100% always starts with value. But then different business practices play a role in terms of what is accepted in each culture. So upfront is usually a little bit more difficult when nobody's paying upfront. Then it becomes a little bit more detached from upfront payments and everything else.
Let's just say, I would say you save X amount from upfront. That's the part I find it hard. Like, what? I mean, even if you don't feel we give you a full refund, like, why would not fly? In my head, it's a cost saving perspective, right? But from
it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough. Again, I hate cost saving narratives. One reason is this: like, there's a limit to growth. Like, the minimum cost is what? 0. Sorry, but it's not 0. It's like something between 0 and X. And because it's something between 0 and X, it's always a discussion about how much of it do I share with you without knowing how much you're saving me. So you end up trying to hit the 30% mark, 35% mark. You can never get to 49. Like, that's hypothetical, but never works. So they will push you down to accept 10% because they actually don't know. So that way, in that situation, the only alternative you have is testimonials and showcases. Nothing else will work. Like, that's actually what Mark Cuban's AI told me. Like, testimonials are showcases, real cases of people saving money. If you really want to push for money saving percentage, that's the only time. But then it becomes more difficult because you need to understand the cost savings from country perspective or recruitment perspective. Every company will have a different cost structure because the regulation is different, cost of personnel is different, taxes are different. So all of a sudden, that's why I hate I hate conversations when it revolves around, we will save you cost, we will give you efficiency, yada, yada, yada. So it's kind of very, very competitive and very hard to scale when that's the only thing that you can present as value. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I tried other ways. The other way you can think of that it's like a guaranteed outcome.
Yes.
Certain days, right? But I don't
or
know.
100% refund. the easiest way in terms of conflict or like to avoid that conversation is like 100% refund after 1 month. No questions asked. Okay, then you kind of say, I trust this is going to save you money. If it doesn't, I'll give you back. But you will never be able to work with us again. So then it becomes like a shotgun. Like, maybe kind of, I'm not really sure. Because then it just becomes a conversation about, is there anything else in the market that's more competitive, that's more price efficient? Because then what we were discussing, like then getting in or allowing you to stay in might be the best thing they can do from a procurement perspective, because they'll pay you something, it works. The more it works, the more they pay. The less it works, the less they pay. It becomes a fair deal. But then all of a sudden, you just need to get a lot more embedded into reporting, measurement. Not everything is super calculatable. If you're not in the advertising space, you can't calculate all the savings. It becomes a little bit more difficult to justify it. And there needs to be a lot more trust to get that percentage share. I'm not a big fan of those either. But good points. Jawad, tell me, my friend.
Yeah, Ozan, so I think to that point, we target two industries, right?
Yes.
Pharma and food. And we know the willingness to pay, right? In food is less, pharma is more.
Yep.
And the amount of work that goes into the pharma product is more than the food product.
Yes, yes.
I think it's very clear, right, that we need to have a different branding.
Yeah.
I think we have to do that
Very
to justify it, right? That on the pharma side, a case that happened was, so we know the competitor pricing, we know how much they're charging, and what we had to do is we want market share, right? We want quick market share. So
because you have money, you have received investments.
Not yet. That's the problem.
Well, you have some. I mean, some like you haven't received, you haven't raised anything. You have some money to spend.
Yeah, a little bit. But our product is very sticky, right? So once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, you're locked in. Yeah.
You're locked in. And we said, look, okay, we'll match your budget. We'll give you whatever you want for the first year, but then the credits
you're
are
locked
gone.
You're locked in. Yeah.
You're locked in, credits are gone, and then we were upfront. There will be a price increase.
100%.
Is that a
always
sane approach?
But here's what I can add to that. So it works if they're locked in. So I'll give you the most aggressive version, where in your initial contract, you immediately tell them there's not going to be a way to extract data if the contract is canceled. Like there is no migration. There is no help in migration. There will never be any help in migration. You put that into contract. They're not going to take a look at it, by the way, because that's not what they think at the moment. But after they start feeling they should pay you less and they want to migrate, some competitor comes in, they'll see like migration, no migration, what migration? That's not something that's in our dictionary. That's aggressive, very aggressive.
It is, yeah.
But man, who said life is fair? And especially with pharma when they're making so much more, that's one path. The other path, which is more milder. So the first path is a little bit brutally honest. The second one is you add features. And this is, you add versions. This is what all the large industrial complex, not just the military industrial complex, but all the industrial complex companies like Siemens, ABB, every other pharma, what they do is like, oh, we have a new version. We're going to stop servicing the old version in 9 months. You can switch to the new version by just paying 10% more, but we're going to stop customer service for version 1. What's the difference between version 1 and version 2?
No, not much.
Only you know. That's it.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, 10% increase, fine. Like you got one version. This is actually like controlled obsolescence, planned obsolescence. Go to Apple Store. You're going to see in every app complaints and complaints and complaints and complaints that they're not supporting the previous versions anymore. What would it cost Apple to actually support 3 versions before? Nothing. Literally nothing. Like, are they changing the whole infrastructure, the whole operation system? Absolutely not. But they're pushing users to actually accept and shift to a higher grade phone, which will support a higher grade OS, which is completely bullshit. They have no reason to change, like, keep that lock in. They can support iOS 5 with Apple 4 forever. Do they care? No. Are they a $1 trillion company because of that? Oh yeah, hell yeah. So that's one of the things that are not fair. I hate it, but my job is not to judge. My job is to kind of make sure that you have every tool possible to make as much money as possible and create more impact as much as possible. So that's the price. So going a little faster, I don't want to be late. So forecasting, again, this is aversion, high price, primary, objective. Setting up the objective is more critical. What is your objective? Do you want to be perceived as the most robust, most technically enabled, most latest stage product that's premium? Or do you want to play to you're paying too much for existing products, I'm going to make your life easier, therefore I'm cheaper. So you can't do both, is my story. You can't keep on telling me all my products are better than the competitors and you put it in your stupid decks. Oh, I'm better than everyone. And then you price lower than everyone. I was like, one of them is not true. You're either not better than everyone or you should not be lower than everyone. If you're doing both, you have no idea what you're doing. And I have a problem with that. I need to fix that. As an investor, I hate that. So I hate seeing startups who I know actually 10 times better than existing competitors, but because they feel they're selling rugs in the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul, they want to start with a cheap price to acquire market share. You can't acquire market share if you are spending so much money on engineering and talent, and you have an expensive operation, and your breakthrough innovation stuff, and then tell me you're cheap. Like, that doesn't make sense. It's not believable to begin with. And then figuring out demand, market sizing, TAM estimations are very, very difficult. And I'll give you one story. I keep listening to this, and it drives me nuts. So most investors, and you will have a TAM Samsung slide in your deck. If I ask you to show me your deck, you'll have a TAM Samsung slide. The problem with TAM Samsung mentality, total available market, obtainable market, serviceable market mentality, is really good startups do not share that TAM Samsung slide because they're building something new. They're creating a market. Some startups can create a market. I'll give you the example. Like 2 years ago, a year ago, not even 2 years ago, 2 years ago, there was almost no personal market or market for vibe coding tools. Zero, almost nothing. Lovable was launched a year ago. And yes, there are some other tools, but can you imagine what Lovable will put as a market slide? Nothing. Who's spending money on vibe coding tools? No one. So there's no market, right? That would be a stupid question. You know what the ARR of Lovable is in 1 year? $200 million. That money was not spent on anything. So when you put market sizing, you also have to have a conviction, a true understanding of where the market is going to go. If you're going after existing markets, yes, you need to know every competitor, every buyer, all the price points, all the growth. Yes, fine. Gartner reports, Deloitte reports, whatever. That's fine. But then you might be missing a true gap where you're maybe creating a new market. And again, I'm a big fan of, with AI tools, this is the only thing I'm very happy with if the startups do that. There is a very limited market of existing budgets spent on our tool or the likes of our tool, but people will be using them because we will be so indispensable to people, to corporates, to employees, to procurement managers, to find whatever, wherever you're selling to. So do not forget to think about, not all of you have this, of course, fine, but some of you might have a glimpse of creating a new market opportunity. That is going to be a key point in having this conversation about pricing as well. Just don't want to kind of let that go. Again, competitors price, of course, know them. Value, pricing policy, yes. So fine. So there are 3 books I recommend highly for anyone in charge of pricing, anyone in charge of product design, value creation, anyone in charge of understanding strategy of pricing. Like there's even one more that I didn't put here. So start with Predictably Rational. It's like a very easy read. It's like a novel, but it has so many great stories. It's just going to knock your shoes off about how stupid people are in terms of what we get fooled by in terms of pricing. Like Influence is good. Cialdan is really, really great. It kind of gives the business context. So Predictably Rational is a little bit more on general economic theory, behavior economics. I'm a trained economist, but I wish I had behavior economics studies before. So psychology of influence is different. And positioning is also a very different thing because you're going to figure it out. There's one more book on category creation, which I can send later. So these are really critical. Anyways, so we talked about this, we talked about that, pricing as a strategy, positioning, perception, blah, blah, blah. Another thing you guys have to, we talked about this a little yesterday. Again, the founder's dilemma is important in terms of what you need to understand and when you fundraise, how you fundraise, and we'll come to that fundraising topic in a second. So it's important. Why it's important. So, okay. So this is very critical. Some of you, again, pricing is always attached to how much resources do you have, what can you spend, not blindly, but spend without an immediate return on investment or short-term return on investment. In order to do that, not all of you are, like nobody, I think in the cohort, I went through the list, is going through, I need users to get revenue models, which are dead already. So that can only work if you're really doing AI infrastructure. If you're not doing AI infrastructure, nobody's going to give you money to burn anymore. So assuming none of you are doing that, you really need to understand fundraising cycles. And I didn't have the time to do a deeper research on this, but I think it can be done easily. Maybe I talk to the Couch team to do it. When you need to fundraise for whatever idea you have, and when you list the companies, venture capital organizations, not family offices, that's different. Not angels, that's also different. But when you list 20 to 30 VCs and that have invested in your domain, that has some interest in the domain, you usually forget, first-time founders usually forget to ask and search for the fund's life cycle. Funds have 3 very distinct, almost like trimesters. So a child is born in 3 trimesters. A fund is born and dies in 3 trimesters. Dies in the sense that it just ends its legal structure. So what happens is you start, most VCs that are doing this for the first time, they start scouting. They start reaching out to teams that are part of their mandate. So they talk to a lot of teams and they have a fund. They have an established company. Blah, blah, blah. Some of them do not have the money. So they just scout to find good teams, to add them into their roster when they are fundraising without having a single money committed by anyone. Assuming they pass that stage, they really have the money. What they do after they fundraise, so here, like after step, like this is preparation, this is fundraising, then the real trimesters begin. Our funds usually have, let's say 10 years, but to make it simple, let's say 9 years of cycles. They set up the company and the company dissolves in 9 years. The first 3 years is where they invest. Where they find the teams, they invest. The second trimester, they try to understand, some of them are exiting. Some of them are dying. They try to understand who to put more money in. So that's this cycle. So they deploy for 3 years, they follow up for 3 years, and then they sum up with the last. So in 6 years' time, they figure out what they have, what is working, what is not working. They write off whatever. And then for the last part, after years 6 to 9, they start closing the fund. They start pushing the teams to exit and everything else. Good fund managers who actually know what they're doing start raising their second fund when they are somewhere in the middle. They start, while they're investing with their existing money, they start fundraising up. They start, where's the annotation? Sorry. They start fundraising again. So this is fund 1. Let me use another color. This is fund 1. And then they start raising fund 2. They usually start fundraising for fund 2 when they have not finished all the money they have. They usually follow the same line. If they have a fund with 20 million, and if things are working, they start to raise a 50 million fund or $150 million fund. Doesn't really matter. So as founders, you really need to start understanding this fund cycle and ask the right questions. Every VC that comes your way, they're not going to be 100% transparent unless you ask them. So they will tell you, are you a VC? So you go to them, they are a VC. Yes, they are a VC. They're not going to tell you they ran out of money. They're in the follow-on cycles of their fund, first one. They're not going to tell you how much money they closed for their second fund. They're not going to tell you immediately when they can actually deploy the money into you unless you ask them. If you ask them, they will, 99% of the time, they will be honest because they don't want to ruin relations with founders. They will be very honest. They'll say, oh, by the way, thanks for asking. We have finished deploying our first fund. We are halfway committed for our second fund. And we have started investing from our second fund. That's what we're talking to you about. That's okay, good. Or they might tell you, we have finished our first fund. We're actually sunsetting it, which is like closing the fund. We have some exits. We have a good return. And we are actually raising our second fund, but we haven't had our first close, which means they have the intention, but not the money. So you don't spend time with them. And this is important because sometimes they tell you to wait, we'll get back to you, da, 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 da. You just need to bet on the right horses, not to get stuck out of deals, not to get stuck out of your runway and everything else. Because not everybody who says they're a VC is actually having this cash to invest. Even for sometimes, even the first time funds, they might have some money left, but if they're not raising their second fund, it means things did not go well with them. So if you go through their website, you search them, you go through Crunchbase, you go through other tools, Magnet in the Middle East works, and then you try to understand when they first launched, and then start counting. If they're in year 6 and there's no news about them fundraising again, they probably ran out of money. So you need to ask that question. If they're year 1, year 2, year 3, they probably have money. So you need to really understand who you are raising from and when you are raising from them in order to make sure you have the right flow and right venture capital communication and connections. A lot of startups kind of don't understand the cycle. That's why they keep on telling me they're raising, they talk. And I hear stories that, oh, we had this fund, but they said they will invest. And then they said they're going to follow on, or they're going to put this much money if there's a lead investor. Most of the investors who tell you they will follow when there's a lead investor, there's almost like a 50-50 coin toss chance that they will actually do what they tell you to do, because they're just playing. because they think you're not going to find a lead investor. And because you didn't find a lead investor, they're not going to lead. They're not going to give you any money, but they're not also going to have a bad reputation that they denied you. So you can't tell them they denied you, but they denied you. So they didn't put any money. So even term sheets are not 100% guaranteed. Does not 100% guarantee that you'll get the money. So nothing else but money in the bank actually means you close the round or you raise money from investors. So don't get too discouraged, neither too encouraged when you start having conversations. And when we meet, we'll probably talk more about fundraising. But I'll close and I'll leave for some time for questions. I'll close with saying there is a good time for fundraising. There's a bad time for fundraising. It's like ice cream. So this next 2 months is terrible for fundraising. Thanksgiving, Christmas, CES, a lot of final closures, lots of push to get due diligence done before the year ends. It's very, very difficult to get into the agendas of investors if you haven't already started the due diligence process. So I would not recommend anybody to say we're fundraising today. Unless you have term sheets, unless you have investment committee meetings, don't say you're fundraising. Tell me you will be fundraising starting from February. So you're getting ready to start fundraising, and do not get meetings in the middle of this whole process. Because every time you get a meeting, you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation where if I like what you're doing, and if I have conviction in what you're doing, I will move fast and force you on some of the terms. Because you do not create competition, you will need to accept those terms. Because I'm interested, I'm ready, I have a term sheet. May not be the best valuation, may not be the best terms, may not be the best liquidation preference, may not be the best board structure that I'm proposing, but I'm proposing something. So because you did not create competition, I will get you. Because that's my job. I need to pay as little as possible to get as much as possible from you. It's not extortion. If you're not running out of money, it won't be extortion. But if you're running out of money, it could be extortion. I've seen that happen. So hold your horses, reduce your burn rates, get ready for the fundraising season, which is better to start in February rather than in January or December. Never December. And this way, you have the opportunity to close before summer hits. Some of you will be questioning what to do in Ramadan. Ramadan is the best time to start engaging with investors, not to fundraise. I didn't say fundraising from investors. I said engaging with investors. So if you're not ready until February, wait until the end of Ramadan and use Ramadan even from today. Create events, create majlises, create shisha nights, create iftars. Then you start building relations with investors. And then after Ramadan, 1 week after Ramadan, 1 week after Eid, you start fundraising. Don't assume nothing gets done in Ramadan. A lot of things get done in Ramadan. A lot. But you need to be smart. You can't close a deal in Ramadan. You need to build up momentum, interest, respect. You need to break fasts together. If you're not fasting, you can still join. You can create events, but you need to plan to build relations in Saudi. Ramadan is the best time. I love Ramadan in Saudi. And because most people assume nothing gets done, everything gets done in Ramadan. You just need to prepare upfront, way upfront. But if you do that, you'll be fine. You'll have relations with investors. then you can start and close your round before summer hits. I hope that's useful. So we mixed a lot of things. Yesterday we talked about cash flow. We did a good session. I think you have the recording of it. Today I'm not going to play Abdullah's song because yesterday we got banned from YouTube because we played that song. So man, you have to have a karaoke team sing the song, and then we can put it without the copyrights. And today we talked about pricing, strategy, growth, a lot of things. I hope this was useful. And any questions?
So, sorry, can I ask? There's again an administrative question. So the email from yesterday, we haven't received any. So with the recording or with the forms, would that be sent today as well?
The forms, it was sent today.
At least
probably
myself,
it went to Javad.
Yeah, we did.
Maybe you're not on the emails.
Perfect. Perfect.
Good.
If anyone
Anything
facing
else?
any trouble with any of the forms, please reach out via Discord.
That's an FYI. This got banned in Jordan, so we don't have access to it. We have to.
Recently?
Yeah. It's been a week, 2 weeks.
Oh, recently. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of VPNs. Yeah,
Exactly.
man, you're a founder. You need to figure out. Don't give me the excuse Discord's banned.
VPNs.
Yeah,
No, we have
see?
We have servers too.
I know you can solve this. Maybe one last thing to where did they left? Muhab, Rafiq, you guys have a task. Until I see you in December in Chaos, you need to change the company name. You have the shittiest name that I've seen for a while. And Muhab is like, what? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, but not kidding. Your name is very difficult. Your company name is very difficult to get through.
Actually, we have other branding names. So Contracts Lab is the. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I do.
So we have, in fact, other branding names. So we have Jessica, our product for big corporation.
I love it.
Rachel for law firms, and Dana for SMEs and startups. And our in-house model is Mike.
Okay, good. Because when somebody hears your name, they search with S, not with Z, and it becomes a difficulty. But again, we can talk about this later. I don't claim to be a good person in marketing, but I surrounded myself with people good at it, and I can pick up things. But I'm happy that you got a lot of Jessicas and Rachels. Good job. Not Rafiq's. Well done, my friend. Well done. Yeah, but maybe they're a little bit more French names, but that works.
No, these are characters from Suits.
Which show?
Suits.
Suits.
Nice. Well done.
You have in San Francisco Harvey.
Good play.
So we are building
my friend. Good play, my friend. Well done. Yes, respect. Iftikhar, tell me.
Yes, thanks. So, I mean, you touched a bit on the whole investor thing, building the relationships. But I mean, advice for guys flying in cold into Saudi. I mean, yes, we're talking from the client side, but building relationships with investors when you actually have no network. I mean, what's in Saudi, let's say? What do you have? What advice do you have for that? I mean, to build up to what you're saying, getting to the point where you can be having the iftars, but I mean, that's a little bit of a later thing,
I'll tell you what I told to Buwan and what happened. Buwan, what happened with your co-founder living in Saudi?
He was able to rack up a lot of meetings. And now I think we already have a great relationship. We're already in advanced talks with a lot of them. So it's just a matter of being on the ground, spending time with people, and then doors start opening up automatically.
So the advice I gave them, you're going to buy a co-founder, a one-way ticket, and a large suitcase.
Which we did.
Yeah.
And it
All
paid
right.
off. And nothing else will pay off. Nothing, absolutely nothing else will pay off. One founder with a suitcase that is visible in every event. Unfortunately, including Leap. Like, don't go to Leap, the conference itself, but you have to be visible during Leap.
Mm.
Or
All right,
you
cool.
need, yeah, or you
That's
need
why we're covering for them, Ozan.
Yes, I know. I know. So I don't know if anyone's done that, but I've seen people do it in CES in Las Vegas. Caravans, trailers, they work really well in CES because hotels are expensive. Everybody loiters and stays around. So I have seen people staying in a trailer in one of the car parks in Las Vegas and get through everything instead of paying 300 euros or dollars per night. I don't think it will work in Leap because they can kind of kick you out much faster than police in Nevada, but you need to be close. So either, again, don't go to Leap, or here's what friends who know what they're doing did. They went there at 6 a.m. in the morning. They slept in their car until the conference began. They left at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. They waited until everybody left. So if you don't go 2 hours early, and if you don't leave 3 hours after, you're going to spend that 5 hours in traffic. So don't do that. Either go super early and sleep in the car until everything starts, and leave very late after everybody leaves, and do that for one night, one day, and then do your events during Leap. Invite people, call out people, do marketing campaigns, bring in a speaker, host. One advice, again, this depends on how much money you have. What really worked is rent a suite, not a hotel room. Rent a hotel room that is big. And in Saudi, in Riyadh, there are hotel rooms that are very big. You'll pay this. You're not going to pay the same amount of money, of course, but you will pay the same amount of money in total if you're trying to find a place to do meetings and everything else. So always be on, always be ready. Create 4 or 5 events, or 3 events if you're lazy. Call in people, small gatherings, roundtable discussions for people in medtech, roundtable discussions for people in fertility tech, roundtable discussions for doctors. Because, like, I'm mentioning those because I know what iftakars are doing. So whatever you do, invite people for a roundtable to your hotel suite. Look larger than you actually are. It's going to be pretty cost effective, actually, because you're going to have serviced coffee, serviced tea, some food, some hummus, some snacks all day, and you're going to bring people in instead of rushing out to hunt people down. This works like magic in large conferences. This worked like magic in CES. This worked like magic in TechCrunch. This worked like magic in different places I've been. I have been to places during Leap, to these events during Leap, but it's usually much larger, and it takes much more organization. Like if you're doing an event for 50 people, you can't do that in a hotel suite. And I don't know if anyone's done that. I know people do that in Dubai, like having a suite, especially during GITEX. That's worked really well. So always be creative, but like don't have too much reliance on digital stuff to do outreach. And you only need 20 people that knows you to start inviting people that will invite other people. I'm doing this in Helsinki, to be honest. Last week, there's a large conference called Slush. I organized a sauna event. And I only knew 7 people that came to the sauna. Everybody I invited, I told them, invite someone else that you really would love to invite to the sauna. As a very personal thing, like being half naked in a sauna with strangers, but that's a very Finnish thing. So it worked. I immediately tripled my network in one sauna event and I paid 600 euros for everything, including drinks, sauna, food, chocolate, stuff. So not that expensive. It's actually freaking much cheaper than Meta or Instagram ads. To build relations, pre-scale with investors, decision makers, B2B procurement leaders, sales officers, CIOs, CSOs, CTOs. Before going scale, you need to do things that this also scales. Like I said, there's no point in not scaling this. So next week I'm going to be doing another sauna event, for example. So again.
So this session's recorded, right? Because basically what you're saying is to be successful, we need to party more. So that's what we're hearing.
Network. Shisha works.
Thanks,
exactly. See,
yeah.
Peter
Paddle
already knows
works.
what he's doing.
Even paddle works.
Food, even paddle games,
No,
like
we have closed one investor or with the paddle game.
I know.
It works. It works.
Yeah.
So
I can
push
attest to that
forward,
one.
and I'm looking forward to seeing you all in a couple of weeks. There is a feedback form that you received for the day. You can mark it out. If you joined 2 sessions, please give me 2 feedbacks. If you have only joined 1, give me 1.
I will share the feedback form in Discord. Yeah, Ozan.
Thank you. And in Jordan, what are you going to do to get that? You're going to use a VPN.
To Saudi and then just open.
MashaAllah. Good job. Well done. There's a cheaper version of VPNs, but that's if that's what you like, that's what you like. Good seeing you guys. Cygenic, you will meet tomorrow?
Wednesday,
sorry. And
Wednesday.
with Bellboy, we'll meet today. Correct?
Just in 10 minutes.
Literally in 10 minutes. Okay, got it. Love you guys. Take care.
Okay.
See you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank you so much,
bye
Ozan.
everyone.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
See you soon.
Guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.